I am sitting in the warm room, and I've got my oilskin hat on. It's kind of almost looks like an Australian bush hat or something. I got a squirrel tail on one side of it that confused one of the kids. They thought Littlefoot had died. That's been years back ago. She has now passed away, but he was so concerned he was going to go catch me a squirrel. And so I made sure to send him a picture of the hat and Littlefoot next to each other so he would know that she was very much alive. Anyway, got that on because it's raining out there. The rain very nicely held off until after the fellows had got the flags back in. We did not take part in bringing the flags in. Charlie had gone in and helped set concrete bases so that they could have 7 more flags up this year. He had gone in and helped with that. Then he had helped to put up flags while I decorated graves. And so, then we went back for the ceremonies. Blockton does their Memorial Day ceremonies actually on Sunday, so it is during that weekend. It's just not on Memorial Day. There are so many around that do it on Memorial Day itself. Then if you've got a veteran buried at Bedford and you've got one buried at Blockton or Athelston, which one do you go to? Which place do you go? So, because there is so much interaction between the towns and so much relations between the towns. Bedford kids have married Blockton kids and vice versa forever, and Lennox kids and so on. They do it a day ahead, and then that works out well. It's kind of like Bedford doing their 4th of July fireworks usually on the evening before. A lot of people will go to Newmarket, and yet Bedford's fireworks over the lakes are out over the lake at Three Fires is a wonderful show. They do a good job of it. So they want to have it on a night when, the most people can come. So it's just kind of working together with the communities around. So all that being said, yesterday the rain tapered off just as we were getting to Platteville, and the guys were able to do the salute there for the veterans buried there. Really didn't have any people there yet when they did it, but they did go ahead and do that salute to honor those fellows that are buried at Platteville. Knowing Platteville, it probably is all fellas so far as the veterans are concerned. It's a fairly old cemetery. There could be a female veteran or two out there. But I just would be a little surprised. Anyway, then Athelston and Blockton were both just wonderful so far as weather. It was not chilly like it has been some years, and it did not rain on us at all. Then today, the fellows went out and took the flags down, which, I would have liked to have seen them. Charlie would have liked to have seen them stay up throughout all of Memorial Day, but with the rain that was coming in, they wanted to get them down ahead of time. So they did. They got them down this morning. We still had company here, so we did not go in and take part in that. But it is raining now, hence the rain hat, hence the look. At any rate, in here with the birds, got some bird stuff going on. Also got some a turtle clip or two that I'm going to work through because I found a turtle crossing the road the other day. Ironically enough, Charlie found a turtle as he was out mowing, literally went just right over the top of him before he, could get stopped. And apparently the poor turtle pulled in all his legs and his head and tail and just hunkered down, thankfully, because it did not even scrape his shell. Well, Charlie thought there was a good place for him. So he picked him up, and when you look at the video of the turtle that I picked up, it's about the size of our largest one. This one that he picked up was about the size of our middle one. At any rate, he just went down our road a little ways till he got to where that gully cuts through our property. So as you're watching my video and I'm saying, okay, this is going to be the pond area, and I'm motioning further away to where I say there's some water further on down there, that's where he went, except that he just went to where it meets up with the road. Some critter has been going up and down that slope, and so there's kind of a trench trail down through there. So he kind of slid the little guy down that trail, and he would have ended up down there at the water. So, happy place for him, safe place for him, where he's not going to get mowed over. And then, of course, you'll see, what I said in the clip that I did. He didn't have, anything with him to record when he was out on the mower. So, at any rate, fun turtle stuff going on. And then we are in the middle of the lockdown days on incubation. So we've got fun chick stuff going on. It would have been lovely if they would have started hatching out today, because we have a niece and nephew on Charlie's side of the house that we love very dearly. They were down over the weekend. They didn't go and participate in any of the festivities that we went to. They stayed here and just had a nice, quiet getaway weekend, which was lovely. That's what they needed. That's what they got. And we just went on about the things that we needed to do. And, the in-between times we had a grand time visiting. It was just a lovely, lovely weekend together. And yet they were, they had asked if they could come. And so they weren't trying to rearrange our schedule any at all. And, we went and did what we needed to do. They weren't offended. We weren't offended that they didn't go with us. We just all understood what was going on with each other. And so it was a lovely time. Somewhere in there, we did end up going over through Clarinda for a brief moment. Because I needed to take care of Mom and Dad Wendell's graves over there. So we got over there and they needed to stop at the store. Well, as we're getting down to the store, something was said about there being a Scooters in Clarinda. Well, Therashay really perked up. She's like, okay, Scott, we're going to Scooters after the store. So Scott drove us over to Scooters, and she had already ordered some kind of coffee stuff for, those of us that wanted it. And what she got for me was a turtle, which I guess is, it's based on the turtle candies. Now, if you've never been to Scooters, I did rescue this cup. This was actually not the cup that my turtle was in, but their cups look like that. And then they have that cute little emblem. So you can see the little fingers gripping the cup because it's good stuff. So, any of you who happen to know me well know that I am not fond of coffee per se. I am fond of caffeine. But Charlie hands me a cup every morning and says, "Coffee, coffee, coffee," which is actually a line from Dante's Peak. So you have to watch that movie if you want to know more on that, because I'm not going to explain more. Anyway, he'll hand me a cup and say, "Coffee, coffee, coffee," but it has had the taste of the coffee killed with enough sugar and creamer and milk, and the milk to kill the temperature, that I can stand to drink it and enjoy the caffeine effect. So, with all that in mind, I don't know what I like at Starbucks or at any of those kinds of places. So I always confer with Charlie or defer to someone who has been there before. So, yeah, and I generally will go ahead and just get something cold, because trying to get something that's supposed to be hot, that's cooled down to where, and just, it's a mess if somebody doesn't actually know me and try to, for them to try to figure that out. So, we decided on a cold, caffeinated drink. Sarah Shea suggested this turtles. And I thought, okay, I think turtles candies are pretty darn good. Let's try that. And it was marvelous. As we are driving back, and I guess actually it was Charlie that was driving because we were in the Suburban. So it was Charlie, not Scott. But anyway, she made sure that the driver was going to Scooters. So then as we were heading back home, we were swapping tastes of the various things we had ordered. She had also ordered something cold and sweet, and it was lovely, and I have no clue what it was, but it's what she usually drinks. And Charlie had his nice real coffee up there, which we did not decide to take a drink of. And I believe Scott was working on his Pepsi, which is his caffeine of choice. Somewhere along the line, it was suggested that Charlie might want to try my turtles drink. So I handed it up, and he took a drink of it and went right on driving, handed it back to me. It was like, wow, his coffee was going to taste really sharply bitter now, or whatever, some comment to that effect. Well, Sarah Shea wanted to know what he actually thought of my drink. So, of course, he said, tasted like a turtle. And she immediately said, and you would know this because you've licked one? So, of course, we're all laughing all the way home. And I'm thinking, okay, this silly, long, drawn-out story has to go with the turtle video. So, with that, I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the chicks, and then I will add turtle videos to the end of that. So, the last chicken video that I did, I was needing to clean a certain kennel and be able to move stuff around. So, that's what I've been working on, and I'll flip this phone around and then show you. So this is typically what we use for our brooder, and usually the bricks aren't in there. I'll be taking the bricks out and cleaning up these pieces of board, taking it back to just a minimal amount of bedding, because the incubator, as I mentioned earlier, the incubator is in lockdown. Should start hearing chicks pipping tomorrow. Charlie has got the blink camera set. He's got a couple of them set on there. One he's got literally hovering right over the temperature and humidity, and the other one he has setting on one of the clear plastic windows, which are very much fogged over, so it's kind of hard to see in there, but you can at least see the eggs, you can at least see movement, and so those things will alert us. So, at any rate, by tomorrow we should start hearing pipping, so in the next day or two we'll be needing to have this clean and ready for them. That is emptied out because these two little guys are hanging out together. Still don't know how they're going to come out. The one with bad feet, he's actually gaining weight, feels pretty good for his size. This guy, his size looks the same, but when you pick him up, he's just featherweight nothing. So, I don't know. And this guy that's featherweight nothing, he's the crossbeak. These guys, however, have been yelling at me some today. And by yelling at me, I mean adult voices. And look at those beautiful speckled feathers coming in. They are becoming little teenagers really, really quick. Maybe I should say they're already teenagers, but they're definitely getting their adult characteristics. You can see, of course, they're hiding their little faces from me, but you can see the little bump beginning to form on their head, and the little, it's not like a chicken waddle, but they have a funky little thing at the corner of their mouth, and they do get little red cupped waddles. There you go, there's one, that are almost hard by comparison to a chicken's. So, there's they don't have those coming yet, but they've got that odd little corner of their mouth, and if they're out in the light where you could actually see them, they're getting a little bit of a bump on their head. So eventually they'll have that goofy little helmet thing. So, and then here are the babies from the brooder. Them's my girls that we hatched out this spring already. So we have Tennessee, and we have Lisa, and I believe Julie is the other name. So, since we named Tennessee from Tennessee Birdwalk, then we decided, well, maybe we ought to come up with other song names. And Charlie suggested a Jesse Coulter song. This would be Tennessee, that's up here closest. And I have to look a little bit. This one in the middle, that's actually Red Green's chick. Now, all of these are by Frank, but this is Red Green's chick. And so that will be Lisa. Actually, I don't know, we haven't decided. But one of them's Lisa and one of them's Julie. These two that are now beside each other, they are both Frank and Myrtle's. And this one off to this side is Red Green's. So anyway, but those are the ones that we've raised. And they just got moved into big girl quarters. So we'll see how they do. Now, on to the turtle stuff. She's actually talking like a big buckeye. They make some of the silliest sounds. They almost don't sound like a regular chicken. Oh yeah, and these fellers down here have gone to perching. I had to turn this back on because that little girl up there got talking instead of the cheep, cheep, cheep that you just heard. So I thought I'd turn it back on for a moment. But you can really see these guys now. And again, that's my chick up there. Maybe these guys will get it going on their hollering. But they've been perching a lot more, even going so far as the three of them tried to all get in that nest box earlier today, which was hilarious because they don't all fit. You gonna talk to us there, kids? Probably not. But you see how that head is beginning to get a little awkward shape to it. Almost looks like a buzzard at this moment. Anyhow, let's better look at them. And they've still got a little bit of fuzzy feathers down their back, but they're sure coming along to adult feathers. So, that'll be enough of that. Now we really will go do turtle stuff. So I have Riley and Oakley in mind today. I think this one's a girl. And with the setup that I showed with the last video, with the turtle update video, really don't need to add another one. Charlie and I are very much in agreement about that. However, she was crossing a paved road, and I first just picked her up and just took her across to the other side. You know, you always want to take turtles in the direction they are going if you're going to help them because they're on the road. Otherwise, they'll just turn right around and keep trying to go across that road. So, I got thinking about that paved road. Yes, I was taking her on across in the direction that she was trying to go, but she didn't really need to be wandering back and forth if she decided to go back across on that paved road where there's a fair bit of traffic. So, this area that's our future pond actually has had a fair amount of water running down through it these last few days with all the rain. So it'll be, nice and damp, and the kind of environment that she has been in or was crossing the road seeking. And if she really, really wants water, there is a water course further on down there. So I'm going to turn her little self loose over here, and we'll just see how that goes. We're just going to turn her loose out here and let her go on her merry way. And she's probably not going to stick her head and feet out, but I did check. Those feet look like a girl, so we're turning her loose out here on Azelda's Legacy.